Well, what a rush.
Let's see if people jump in here. Where all my people's at?
It's all your people. It's all your people.
For once.
It's funny.
Welcome back to Homeboys Podcast.
It is funny because it's like I'll post the vlogs and people will watch them and then nobody watches this but your people.
Yeah. Until it blows up one day. There we go. Our audience is back. All right. I think we're going to start where we cut off. It still may upload later, but...
Yeah, that's okay. But where it got cut off was when I was talking about my not being like a typical parenting. And I guess the things that I like to do is make Maddie laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were saying something that brought me back to the whole, oh yeah, and he's in an activity. My parents always had me in an activity. Like I loved to dance. And now I have Maddie in an activity, which is great because finding stuff for special needs kids is not necessarily easy, but Miracle League is awesome. So he gets to do that in the spring and the fall every year. And it makes him happy.
And now he has the best buddy ever.
He does. You are the best buddy.
I run the bases with Maddie. And then I'll run in the outfield with him and almost flip him over.
I saw that. That was an interesting moment.
And I was saying, I like to look at the question as I'm talking about it because it did hit on something. What's the question?
It's a parenting habit you
brought from childhood. I was saying, like, for me, it's about my grandfather again, how he was always there. I want to always be there for my kids. So all their things. I've been to some crazy things, talent shows. I've been participated in talent shows and played guitar for P to sing. And then last year went and seen P playing guitar.
That was fun. Even I got to be there.
It was like full circle. And just show up for all their things and be there for them to talk to. And I was saying, like, one thing I didn't have was like the ability to go in and talk to my grandparents openly like I'd want to. And I was sharing like the story, in case my sister's back in here, about how I can remember a time that tried to open up to my grandmother, and my grandmother, like, you don't know what you're talking about, shut it down, I'm not talking about it, like, and it just left my sister like, well, great, now what? Like, it was to the point where, like, my upbringing was very like, we want you to be like this, and this is how you will be. And I know a lot of parents today that do that. And when they reach a certain, obviously, you don't want your kid going into like a convenience store or stealing or nothing. But like when they reach a certain age, like that's not your life; it's their life.
I don't want your life.
Right? Like I want my kids to be Christians and in church and working ministries and those crazy kids with the white eyes that knock on your door and have you heard about Jesus? And I know that would give them a safer, better life, and I could feel more comfortable. But it's not my life to live. And when they reach a certain age, like my oldest is in college and paying his own way through college. And what can I tell? That, and he's had his talks with me about his beliefs and how we differ and all that. And so, yeah, I think, I guess I stepped outside of the question because I bring more that wasn't in my childhood to the table as a parent than that was. But I would say the positive would be my grandfather always showed up for me. And I don't think I could say the same. This is horrible because I love him to death, but I don't think it was the same for every other grandchild that they raised and all that. But he definitely did show up for me. So that's what I try to bring in my kids' lives. What's something? Oh, what's something you've intentionally changed. So that's the question I was answering. Yeah.
And then, how do you balance discipline and grace as Christian parents?
Ooh, boy.
You're gonna have to talk more about that. Like I was mentioning this to Randall earlier when we were just going through this quickly to see like what the questions were, and I was like, this area is difficult for me to answer just because I'm not disciplining. There's like lots of things I just don't do because Maddie is just already the perfect little child. No, because it's just parenting is different with a kid like Maddie, so
yeah, for me, and I see my sister coming, it wasn't the same, in other words, for her as it was for me with him, but he was still a big important part of their life. Yeah. My goodness, the man wasn't perfect. I mean, he's still around, but he was the closest thing to perfect we had, So how do I balance discipline and grace as a Christian parent? It's very tough, right? It's with P. I raised P in church. He's off at college now, not attending church, and living his life. So 17 years old, about to be 18 this month. So
it's crazy.
Not a lot of discipline I can do. I mean, don't get me wrong, the kid ain't gonna like buck up to me or nothing, but there's not a lot of discipline that you can do with somebody that's coming of age. You just got to hope that you did the right things when it was time to do it.
But he has some pretty good values.
Yeah. And same for Waylon. Waylon's younger. He's 13. But I'm more, discipline for me is a lot more communication. I'm gonna talk you through something in the moment. We might have a little back and forth. And if it's something serious enough, I'm going to pull him aside and say, let's talk this out. What's going on with you? Because when I hit the pause button, everybody knows the room got serious. So, and both kids have seen that from me. But grace, yeah, goodness, you got to give so much grace with both of them. P's in college doing crazy stuff like stealing people's peepholes. And, Waylon's 13, so he's, 13 going on grown. And he thinks he can.
Hates everything.
He hates every dinner. He hates it. Yeah. So you just got to give grace. And especially when you're blending and everything's new and things are changing. As far as Maddie goes, yeah, like she said, he's got the golden ticket. That kid's, he's a pretty good boy, and he's always happy. And he loves his dinner, and it has to eat the same thing every night. So.
Yeah. How do you handle moments when your parenting styles clash? I think our parenting styles are pretty similar.
Oh no, you'd have to speak more to that because obviously our parent styles are going to be identical with Maddie.
But
you're not going to be mean to Maddie, obviously.
Right. But like when we sit there and we talk about like stuff with your kids or concerns, and when I say certain things to you about like, well, have you thought about this? Or, maybe talking to them like this or whatever, like you pretty much agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can tell you from experience dating, trying to get back out there and, especially with the intentions of marrying again and all that, people I've dated previous, like the moment there's an issue with your child, from that other person, run, get out of that situation. Because it's not fair to them. And yeah, we have never had a crossword about. I'm sure there's things where you're like,
But I have a lot of grace with your kids.
what? That sounds great.
A lot of patience with your. But I mean, like your kids are good.
But that's parenting,
and they're,
right?
but
Like,
they're good. Yeah, there's always those little things that like can be annoying. Especially I see sometimes those things that get you annoyed, and then I just kind of laugh it off. But for the most part, I mean, you raised pretty good kids.
Yeah. We're gonna tie in with faith. God trusted us with these children, not to be perfect parents, but to raise them to know Him. It's not about repeating or rejecting our past, but redeeming it through Christ. Amen to that. Yeah, I mean, that's important too. I'll say the most important thing, because your kids will get older and your kids will run from their faith in a lot of cases. And that verse we read earlier, you raise them up in God and He returns to them. Like, that's, you want to make sure they have that foundation. When Nicole's saying my kids have pretty good morals and all, that's because I raised P in church, and Waylon's getting there now. And that's the other thing with that grace. Like, I have to give Waylon more grace because in my previous marriage, he wasn't made to go to church with me. Like, so I went to church on Sundays, and my ex didn't. So the kids weren't forced to go. So P was like, right hand man, ain't leaving my side, so he's gonna go where I go. But Waylon's like, nah, I'm good, bro. And it wasn't till recently that, I started getting him to go. And I had that vision with this house when we moved in. Like, we have to build this relationship on that foundation. Our previous marriages taught us a lot about what we needed to heal from and how our upbringing played into those relationships too. How did your childhood expectations of marriage affect your first relationship, Nicole?
Sugar, honey, iced tea. Let me think about this. How did your childhood expectations of marriage affect your first relationship? I really don't know. Because like everything was just so like it was like such a fast flip-flop in things when Maddie came along.
Right.
Because like I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, I saw both my parents working. My mom was, I guess, like technically the breadwinner because she had the insurance. She definitely made more money, but both my parents were hard workers. So I saw that as an expectation that I would work and my husband would work. But then Maddie came along, and that was a big surprise with all the things that he needed. So that changed lots of things in the house. And somebody had to be around to take care of him. And I ended up being the one who went out and worked.
Yeah. For me, it's the opposite. Like, my expectations were lowered from the marriage that I seen growing up. So arguments and disagreeing on everything and hating each other and all that was the norm. And just that value that my grandfather instilled in me to be there for everything for my kids caused me to stay in that relationship much longer than I should have. But there was huge similarities to their marriage, my grandparents' marriage, and my first marriage. Huge similarities. And everyone I know when I was a kid wondered why my grandparents were together. So, do often wonder how many people were thinking the same thing in my marriage.
I can't say that my parents' relationship impacted or had an effect on like my childhood expectations of marriage, at least back then. Maybe today, but not then, because I feel like my dad died when I was like 13. So I had some ideas of things, but I didn't get the full experience of like seeing how your parents continue to grow together. Because that's what they're doing, right? Your parents continue to grow together and you're watching that, right?
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not really sure why I went the route that I did.
Yeah.
I'm working on that.
See, my sister says still wonder why they were speaking to my grandparents being married. Yeah, I mean, I know when there was one point that I went and seeked in my marriage. I went to a therapist, and when I was diagnosed with depression and all that, I was talking to my grandfather on the phone, and I was going over like what they had told me, and he was like, "That's so strange." He's like, "I've never understood depression." He's like, he said, I don't think I've ever been depressed a day in my life. And I was like, what? How are you not? Like, we seen them in like dog fights. Like, there's no way he was happy. It's like he really needed depression to find to him, because he definitely was depressed. But like, that's how I was raised. And to talk about something you have to unlearn, like, and I'm sure you see this in me, like there's no stop for sadness. You got to keep going. That's something that he instilled in me. Like, man, I ain't got time to cry. You gotta pick yourself up by the bootstraps. Keep going. And that's just how we were raised. And there is no unteaching me that. It's so engraved in me. Like, we just don't have time to wallow in it. We got to keep moving.
I know divorce is probably a big thing with not being an option, I guess, in my family, if you look at expectations. There's been more divorce now in my family with like the new generation, like with my generation, like the millennials. But for the most part, when the first divorce I feel like I remember ever happened in my family, I remember, I don't want to say who it was in case they watch this, but my dad cried. He was so sad. And I was just like, wow, I didn't realize it could be that much of an impact on, like, it's not even like it was his kid, but my dad was, he loved his family. He's very close to his family. And he was also a very religious man. And I think it was just a really sad thing for him to have to, I guess, go through with his family.
Well, there's some things in the Bible that Bible's the Bible. We don't necessarily enjoy all of it, right? Like when it comes knocking at our door to tell us we're wrong about something. But yeah, I mean, with divorce, that's kind of what did God teach you through that season? That's our next question. But with divorce, it is frowned upon to Christians. You're supposed to marry right the first time.
And it's so hard. Like I try really hard to not beat myself up about all of that either. Like what God, what did God teach you through that season? I mean, we are learning from everything that we do in life, even from those chapters that end. I don't want to look at it like a failure. That's a hard thing to try to get over. Because it's not a failure. It's just like that chapter ended. It just didn't work. Like, move on. What's the next chapter in life? What did you learn from that experience? Because everything is a learning experience.
It's a very therapeutic way. I think we disagree on that, oddly enough.
Tell me more.
Well, I look at my first marriage as a failure. I don't feel like I can learn from it unless I look at it that way. I don't think it was just something fun. I tried for 16 years, it was, I gave a lot of effort, and it failed. And marriage is 50-50. So a lot of that's her, a lot of that's me, whatever. But, I think I failed in the first place. What I was saying earlier with, God intends for you to go out there with your faith, find the person who also has faith, marry that person, have children, and you're equally yoked, as the Bible says. You raise those kids because you're on the same mindset. I didn't do that. And so free will's a thing. And I ran astray and did my own thing. And so I think I did fail, and I disobeyed God in that. That's how I view that. I don't beat myself up over it. Repentance is a thing, but I definitely pay for that mistake every day. When you got a co-parent with this person that you had a hard enough time co-parenting with when you were married. So yeah,
But then there's the whole component of like when you're trying, you did all you could, and it got to that point where there was nothing left that you could do. So the next step was that ultimate option.
And there is some biblical behind that. I'll let you guys look up, but divorce is a thing you can do for certain reasons. What did God teach you through those seasons? To put a button on that, it was what I just said. That's the learning from that failure. To me, God taught me, you don't do that again. Don't go out there on your own free will and choose your own path again.
But what are some other things that you learned, like about who you are and like what you deserve?
Just that,
I learned a lot about that, like what I deserve.
I felt like I'm a Christian man, and I can be proud to say that.
You should be proud to say
and
that.
I can find someone to build that same foundation with, to build our relationship on. If you just knew me the early days of marriage, prior to marriage and all that, that's such a big part of who I am, was my faith. And that just got stripped throughout the years. So I learned to not let that happen. I'm not saying that's all her fault, whatever. I'll let these things happen to me. But I've learned not to do that again, and to put God first and everything else after.
How has your faith guided your healing and growth since?
Goodness, man alive. You're looking at it where for me, I regrouped, did exactly what I just said. I said, this next go around, I'm building on foundation of faith. I found Nicole. Immediately we started discussing church, finding the church, all that. It's led us to everywhere. You can see God working in our relationship because it led us to this town we're in. because we found the church based off of where we thought we were going to live, based off of where Maddie needed to go to the hospital. So like everything's just coming to this little town. And we do this podcast, we vlog every day. We got church on Sunday. We got our groups 2 different nights a week. So we're pumping a lot of Jesus in this podcast. Like this stuff I ran through Chat GPT, and it spits out all this faith stuff with it. It's God's constantly there, even when we don't expect him to be. So it's like he's talking to me like, now you got it, and man, that's brought so much healing and growth in me.
When I was back on the dating apps, I was looking for somebody who had some Christian values, but wasn't like the first thing you see on their site, on their dating page is like God-fearing man. I just felt like that would be somebody that's too in your face right in the beginning. And I was like, I don't want that. I don't
Tricked
want that. But
it was at the bottom of my page.
But it was different with you. Definitely was. And it was like a gradual progression for me. It wasn't like our first conversation was about faith, which is nice. That would have probably scared me away. Even though it's something that I wanted, it was hard for me to get back into all of that after being told or made fun of, really.
I wish I had a transcript of our first conversation, because I imagine there was some faith conversation in there.
I think you probably asked if how what religion I am or whatever.
That sort of thing.
That was probably right after you were like.
No, I didn't say, "Hey, I'm Randall. Let's open the Bible here to Ephesians."
No, definitely. It was more like, "Hey, so your profile says that you're white, but
yeah,
what's going on there?"
She had Caucasian on her dating profile. Caucasian, you.
And then probably right from after that, he was like, "So the religion." That's probably how that conversation.
I'm sure you had Catholic on your page, so I don't
remember.
I definitely would have covered that early on, because again, I had a little tension about it. The faith tie-in for that segment is Romans 8:28. Reminds us that God works all things together for good, even the hard stuff. Our past marriages, mistakes, and pain can be used for his purpose and our growth. Faith, forgiveness, and foundation.
Okay.
One thing we've learned is that our foundation has to be faith, not feelings, not history, but Christ. Boy, is this thing driving home some Jesus.
Jeez, yeah, it really is. We're throwing the Bible at people.
How has God helped you forgive your past?
We've been talking a lot about forgiveness in our groups.
What?
Our groups got a lot about forgiveness.
Yeah, well, it's whether you have God or not, it's a big part of your life, right? You got to forgive to move on. I like the way they worded that. How has God helped you forgive your past? So that's implying things you've done wrong, not necessarily someone else.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think maybe how's God helped you forgive your past? I think maybe if I look at it from forgiving myself for not just anything that I've done, but maybe my own limit on my expectations for myself. Knowing that I can do better and I do deserve better and all of those kinds of things. Because of where I am now, it took me a lot to get to where I am now, and I'm still growing and I'm still learning, but I have to kind of forgive myself for those mistakes that I've made along the way. Um,
Oh.
and I think for tying in how God has helped me with that, I think He's helped me a lot with that just because every time I feel like I've heard, this is the next thing you need to do with your life, just go ahead and do it. I do it and it works out. And I know that's just me listening to God. And just going down that kind of path. That's yeah. But God helped you forgive your past. I feel like that's a big part of it. Like just looking at what I've done, my own mistakes, trying to forgive myself for how I feel about myself. And that sounds weird, but when you have a low self-esteem or you have these like low thoughts about who you are, that person needs forgiveness so that you can move on and move forward.
Yeah, that's a deeper question for me because in reference to blending families, I know the one thing somebody can do that's pretty unforgiving for me is to negatively
You got it?
affect my children. And I think choices I made then led to, separation, divorce, and all that. It's very traumatic for a kid. And, to put my kids through that, it's pretty hard to forgive yourself for that. But it takes time. Like when you start seeing the life you can give them when you're happy.
You've also said stuff to me about how like God has removed things from your life because you knew that was not.
Ooh, yeah, in a heartbeat he will. That's biblical. I mean, if the Bible says you shall have no other God before him. So anything you're putting before him is your God, right? So I'm gonna get preachy. This podcast is mainly preachy. But so like when we were talking earlier about, well, we're gonna miss church because we're in Connecticut, right? So that means being in Connecticut would have became our God, right? Like we put something before going to church. And eventually going to Connecticut, we had to, it was a thing, but I'm saying like, if you like golf and you're going golfing every Sunday instead of being in church, but you should be in church, that golf has become your God, and God will take that from you. And one way or the other, he's going to have you tear a rotator cuff or something. And yeah, so God's done that many times in my life. And, I needed him to help me with that, with the marriage I was in, because I felt like that marriage was drawing me further away, not closer to.
Yeah, because you were really trying to
and he showed
stick it out.
Yeah, he showed me that he's got to get that out of the way. And then you wonder why, right? You put all those years in, you're like, oh, you do feel like you failed, and it was a waste. Why was all this time wasted? And then when you meet somebody like I have, and you start building a relationship that's faith, the foundations of faith, and you understand, oh, wow, happiness. That's what that feels like. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard to forgive yourself. But God's already forgiven you, so you got to keep on keeping on. What role does prayer play in a blended family's daily life? I mean, I would say
we need to pray more.
We do need to pray more. I pray a lot in my private time and all that. And I pray for these guys, my crew. And man, oh man, was I praying like for them to get saved at the church and get baptized and all that. I was just praying for Waylon and Nicole, and that was so cool because at the same time they agreed to do it, and I was able to baptize them. That was cool. But no, I mean, prayer, especially in terms of blended family, is a lot for me. Like I have to, 'cause I'm a lunatic without God, right? So I have to pray to keep myself in check. There's a lot of goings ons when you start blending. Everything's wide open. How about you? You just gonna go with we need to pray more?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
What does being blissfully blended Christian family mean to you? Blissfully blended. I mean, I guess that was the whole name of this channel, was based off of our faith, and just that. As for me in this house, we're gonna serve the Lord. Y'all do what you want to do. That's what this family means to me. If you're don't spend a Saturday night here if you don't intend on getting
Coming
up
to
on
church
Sunday
with us
morning
on Sunday.
and going to church.
I'm gonna tell you, my friends, it is so different. Like, I want my friends to come visit me so they can see a different type of church. It's so awesome. The music is so great. Like,
you can visit on Saturday and then head back to a room. But if you say, "Hey, can I crash here?" As long as you're in the van at 11 o'clock tomorrow, well.
And if you really, really, really want to go to a Catholic church, I'm not going to stop you. There's one literally around the corner. I will drop you off, pick you up.
Oh yeah, as long as you're in the house of the Lord, we're good.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, what's blissfully blended Christian family? I mean, yeah, that's means we just keep our eyes on God and our faith strong.
And we just like incorporate that into lots of aspects, or every aspect of our family. When it comes to parenting, when it comes to health, when it comes to all those kinds of things.
Our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Matthew 7:24 says, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built a house on the rock."
Built his house on the rock.
Built his house on the rock. I suffered a concussion a few years ago, so I can't read very well. So yeah, just that. I mean, I guess that following up, what does a blissfully blended Christian family mean to you? It means you build your house on the rock. You build your house on the strong foundation.
On the strong foundation.
That's all we got, right?
That's
it.
Thank you, guys.
75 pages of podcasts. So next week, I don't know what the topic will be.
How do I?
That one was.
You might do some fun stuff, maybe.
That one was pretty deep. Maybe because I've been wanting to do some challenges.
Yeah.
So maybe we could incorporate a challenge into the podcast.
We'll see what
that
it
might
is.
be fun, like cotton ball or something like that.
He talked about wanting to do that Bean Boozle thing.
Yeah, we gotta have Waylon for that one. It's so gross.
He'll be here.
He'll be here, yeah. Well, we'll see if he wants to be on the podcast. Right now, he's texting us wanting to know how you make hot cocoa.
I make apparently the best hot cocoa. I mean, it's a great recipe. But he really wants this recipe. If y'all want the recipe, let me know, and I can give you the recipe.
All right. Well, where's our song at? Let's see if I can find it.
So we can Vogue it out.
We got a Vogue.
We got a Vogue.
That's the wrong kid. I texted it to a kid, so I got to scroll up and find it. But we text a lot.
Yeah, so that might take some time. I found a dress today, guys.
She did find a dress.
Found a dress.
You know what I found?
Both.
Where did that viewer? My sister wants the hot cocoa recipe.
Okay, I got you.
Gotta hit end stream because this is
You may
awesome.
want to do that. Oh my god.
Such a great song.